Jessica. I am honored to introduce our guest speaker today, David Bowman. David Bowman was one of the first people I met in the industry when I moved to the Dayton area 7 years ago. He is one of the nicest, most generous person you will ever meet. He is always smiling and the biggest cheerleader SAA could ever have. Maybe we should make you our mascot. In all seriousness, David is very respected by many people in the advertising and marketing industry. He works at the Bowman Group, an advertising agency in Dayton who employs many of our grads. He joined our faculty in 2012 and taught our marketing course. He has been recognized many times for his expertise and giving nature, including the Dayton Business Journal's 40 Under 40, American Advertising Federation's Addy and Mercury Awards, and the Epilepsy Foundation's Board Member of the Year. Everyone in the Dayton region knows David and has probably worked with him at some point in their career. I personally have gone to him numerous times for professional advice and look up to him greatly. He's full of inspiration and knowledge with a killer smile and a great hug in tow. David, I was not going to get choked up, guys. I'm honored to call you my friend, and all of us at SAA appreciate your continued support. You guys are doing this to me today. They're very special to me. We couldn't be more honored to have you and your family join us today. And without further ado, please welcome our class of 2015 commencement speaker, David Bowman.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Betsy, Jessica, SAA, students, families, and guests. It is absolutely an honor to speak to you today. Today's a first for me. I do a lot of public speaking, but I have never given a commencement speech, though I confess I have always wanted to. So, like teaching a course in marketing, it's a dream I can cross off my wish list thanks to SAA. Before you now, I am in a small way fulfilling SAA's mantra to live my dream. And for that opportunity, I'm grateful. Students, while I am deeply honored to address you today, I'm not blind to the fact that not a single one of you came here today to hear me speak. I assume that in your mind, I basically represent one of the last remaining obstacles between you and your degree. And let's be honest, after 2 years of very hard work, to get here today, you really don't care too much about what I say, as long as I don't take too long to say it. Knowing this to be true is actually quite liberating as a speaker, because it removes all of the pressure to be brilliant and I just know I gotta be brief. So, I will do what I can to make you happy by being concise today, but still I do want to share some thoughts, some wisdom, and some advice with you, which hopefully you'll find valuable. Today marks the end of one phase of life and the beginning of another for you. For some, this will be a radical and sudden shift, and for others, perhaps a more gradual transition. But for all of you, your life is rapidly evolving and will continue to do so for some time to come. It's a very exciting time. Looking backwards, you began life as a child with no skills, no money, no independence, no responsibility, and an abundance of free time. Steadily over time, you've built multiple skills, developed the capacity to earn money, learned to behave responsibly, and prepared yourself to live independently, all in exchange for some of your time. And now you stand ready to enter the professional world where you can work full-time. You can hone your skills, earn more money, gain much more responsibility, become far more independent. In exchange for all of that, experience life with an increasing scarcity of time. This change can be very tough as you begin to realize that free time, something you once totally took for granted, is now in very short supply. Author and social psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi refers to time as the ultimate scarce resource. And he's right. You see, a big problem with time as it pertains to your life is that while you know it's finite in supply, You never know just how finite. The law of averages would tell you you've got a good 60, 70 years of time left here on Earth. The problem with average is it doesn't apply to you necessarily, and it just applies to most people on a belt. Isn't all that reassuring in terms of predictive ability. Some of us have less time than others, and it's impossible to know who among us will ultimately wind up above or below average. What you need to realize is every day, every minute, every second matters. As your time becomes increasingly limited, how you use it becomes vitally important, and what you choose to do matters. So in the limited time I have left, I'll share with you a few things I hope can help to make the most of your time as you embark on the amazing journey ahead called life, wherever it may take you, and however long that journey may be. First, maybe the most important piece of advice I could give to a young designer. Just to save you hours of time. Lower your stress level, increase your sanity, and build your stature as what you'll hear referred to as a team player. Very important. That advice is this: make the logo smaller. Smaller? You won't hear that phrase very often throughout your career. Make the logo smaller. This piece of seemingly silly advice is really advice that's about anticipation and professionalism. You see, you know without fail that when you first show a design to a client, they're going to say, make the logo bigger. By anticipating this dreaded directive in advance and adjusting your approach accordingly, you can give the client a win without sacrificing your design. Make it 20% smaller the first time. Then you can feel like a hero when you make it 20% bigger for them, based on their feedback, of course. The client gets what they want, the design ends up where it should be, and you can avoid a whole lot of stress and aggravation. Life's filled with these opportunities to learn, anticipate, and act. So recognize them and approach them wisely. Look for ways where through thoughtful anticipation, you can engineer an outcome where everyone wins. Second, and this should also sound familiar to any young designer, decide what's important. Think back to your first few projects at SAA. I'm not talking about the beautiful, polished, clean pieces that you showed off yesterday at Portfolio, but to the early stuff. Remember those projects? You know, the pieces with multiple headlines, disjointed imagery, a lot of crazy illustrations, 13 typefaces, multiple paragraphs of copy, photos, countless other elements, all crammed into one great design, and all competing for attention. Every inch filled with noise, and yet totally devoid of a meaningful signal. Life is no different. You see, it's true, you can be anything, but because time's finite, you can't be everything. You have to choose. You have to decide what's important. What are you trying to be, to do, to accomplish? What matters? What's your dream? Figure this out, and then start cutting the things that don't contribute to the achievement of that dream. Remove the noise, and shift the focus to what's important. Amplify the clear signal. That means eliminating bad habits, bad relationships, and bad decisions. Learning to politely and professionally say no to the things that matter least, so that you have time to say yes to those that matter most. Which brings me to my next point I'd like to make, which has to do with white space. We've established you're going to have less and less free time. Here's another fact. If you don't decide what to do with that time, the world will be happy to choose for you. You've got to carve out and create white space for yourself. By white space, I mean deliberately making time for yourself to do important things that renew your creative energy. Make time for happiness. Make time for learning. Make time for sleep. Make time for important relationships. Make time to ask for feedback. Make time for reading or drawing or music or hiking or just quietly sitting and reading. Make time for dreaming. Where does this time come from? From eliminating the non-essential, non-important, non-productive elements from your life. As author Greg McEwen says in his brilliant book, Essentialism, it's about embracing the idea of less, but better. Give yourself room to grow and breathe and live. It's never been easier to waste time on non-essential things, and it's never been more important that you choose not to. Now, let's talk about habits. We're truly creatures of habits. Habits are about the most of what we do every single day. Therefore, it's really important to be conscious of your habits and intentionally build good habits. Habits take far less brain power than thinking about things. And for creative, brain power is what pays the bills. It's what moves the heart. It's what makes you happy. So good habitual behavior removes the need to expend that limited mental energy trying to make decisions about basic and trivial things. Good habits help you save mental energy for problem solving, creative endeavors. You're just now entering your career. Start it with developing good habits. Be early to work. Be prepared for meetings. Be disciplined about exercise and diet and sleep. Build routines that make your life easier. Example, I pick out and iron all my clothes for the week on Sunday. Sometimes while watching football or sports, while doing this. Okay, so as I say that out loud, it doesn't sound that impressive. What's that? But here's the deal. This simple act knocks out a necessary task in an easy way at a time during the week where I don't have a whole lot of demand on my time and I don't have a whole lot of stress. This habit eliminates the daily need to think about what to wear first thing in the morning when I'm zombified, which is one less decision for the first part of my day. No ironing vastly speeds up my morning routine, which gets me out the door faster, which gets me to work earlier, which gets me to jump on the day, which in turn reduces my stress and gives me a guilt-free reason to watch football on Sundays. Simple habits like this make life easier. So build good habits, break bad ones, and free up time and energy for more important things. Next, a little bit about the future. First, have a plan. Second, realize the world doesn't give a damn about your plan. Boxer Mike Tyson said it best. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. What I'm saying is, while a plan is essential, you have to be ready to deviate from your plan at times. This requires flexibility, requires grit. What that does not mean is to sacrifice your ethics, your dreams, or your time for someone else's agenda. The world's extremely complicated and incredibly unpredictable. Plan according to what you anticipate happening, and be prepared to respond to what actually happens. They'll rarely be the same thing, and you probably won't know if the deviations are actually good or bad for a very long time. As author John Acuff states, you can't predict the future, but you can change the present. You gotta play the hand you're dealt, and play it as best you can. When you screw up, own it, learn, forgive yourself, and move on. Keep your cool. Remember that your story is that of the hero's journey. An essential part of any good hero's journey involves overcoming major obstacles to triumph in victory. Over the past 2 years, you've demonstrated that ability, and believe me, you'll do it again. Don't be afraid to ask others for help along the way as well. Remember, we're all the hero of our own story. Many of us will empathize with the challenge of your heroic quest, and more than gladly help you succeed if you just ask. Remember that some of the most challenging, difficult, seemingly terrible things we endure in life provide us with the strength, wisdom, and character required to be great. Life is a process. Choose to be an active part of that process. Trust the process, and love the process. Here are a few more quick tips. Be surprised by something every day. Surprise someone every day. Say thank you every day. Say I love you to those you love. Say I love you to yourself, and mean it. Make friends with that little voice inside your head. When you're presented with a new challenge, and that voice asks you, you sure you can do this? Remember everything you've accomplished successfully in life. Remember all the things that brought you to this moment today. And respond with an emphatic, hell yes I can. And from the future and talk plans for tomorrow, no doubt you'll be answering for some time to come. Let's return now to the present moment. This glorious moment in which we're here together celebrating you. Drink this moment in with your senses. As the Greek philosopher Heraclitus said, you cannot step twice into the same river. This moment and all to follow in life are unique and fleeting. Be there for them. Pay attention to them. Some, like today, are playing milestones, life-changing days filled with celebration. Others only show their meaning in time. But every day is filled with these opportunities for beautiful experiences if we just show up. Show up and be present. Show up and take part. Show up and listen. Show up and give the gift of your attention to those that matter to you. Show up and speak from your heart. Show up and give the gift of you to the world. Show up and be in the present moment. Instead of constantly shifting your attention to the infinite abyss of what's out there to consume, strive to be present with what's right here, right now. It's from being present with those experiences that you'll find wisdom, happiness, and creative inspiration. Finally, you can clap if you want. Finally, let's talk about dreams. Dreaming of that which does not yet exist, creativity, if you will, the ability to conceptualize a reality beyond the present one, that's what separates Homo sapiens from all other creatures. Once upon a time, you dreamt of getting accepted to design school. You accomplished it. Then you dreamt of passing your first courses. You accomplished that. You dreamt of surviving portfolio. You accomplished that. You dreamt of becoming an amazing designer with incredible skills. Graduate of SAA. You're minutes away from formally accomplishing that. Look at what you accomplish when you dream and you do. That must not stop today, but that's the most important thing you've been taught. Keep dreaming. Be willing to be bad and be determined to get better. Begin, believe, become. Let today be but one in an ongoing series of big dreams that you may come true in your life. Never forget that you are amazing and beautiful and fully capable of realizing your life's dreams. So, dream your life and live your dream. Thank you.